Hello my pretties, welcome to Bangs Fitness. This is the Sunday Supplemental, and today I'm going to talk about vitamin D. And yeah, before you say anything, I used ClipArt in the intro, I confess. I'll start with a little background information on vitamin D. Firstly, technically it's not actually a vitamin. Vitamin D is what's known as a corticosteroid. Molecularly, it's almost identical to a steroid hormone, so it's very different to a lot of other vitamins. Now, the two major forms of vitamin D are D2 and D3. The active form that's best utilised by the body, and the one that you most commonly see in supplements, is D3. So that's what I'm going to discuss today for the most part. Now, when you consume vitamin D, it has to undergo a special process, a special conversion process. I'll lay that out in 3 simple steps, and you will be tested on this, so pay attention. Step 1, so you eat some food with vitamin D, you take a C supplement or whatever it is, and I'll discuss sources shortly. And you consume cholecalciferol, which is an inactive form of vitamin D3. It's digested and goes via the bloodstream to the liver. That takes us to step número 2. It's converted into the prohormone in the liver, known as calcidiol. Now, step 3, calcidiol is then converted into calcitriol, either in the kidneys or by white blood cells in the immune system. Now, this is where things get really exciting. This is the active form of D3. It's worth noting that when the conversion or synthesis takes place in the immune system, the white blood cells, the calcitriol actually provides local protection against microbial attack. So it's very, very important for immunity. Now, when it's synthesized in the kidneys, calcitriol acts as a hormone. It regulates things like the concentration of calcium and phosphate in the blood, which is very important for promoting healthy growth and repair of bone. So, yeah, vitamin D deficiency can cause brittle bones, misshapen bones, so watch it. Now, it's especially important to consider this for older adults, for preventing osteoporosis, particularly in combination with making sure that you get sufficient calcium. It's definitely a good measure to take through life anyway, but especially for older people. Now, another important benefit of vitamin D is that it has great anti-inflammatory properties. It can be very important for joint health, particularly people that are engaged in athletic activities, which I would hope is most of you that are listening, if not all. Also heart health, very important for heart health. And this is good to know because there's such an overabundance of inflammatory foods in the modern diet, particularly things like omega-6 fatty acids in vegetable oils, and livestock is fed grains. So there's a huge overabundance of inflammatory foods. But that's something I'm going to cover in another episode anyway. So, right, well, but that's basically a background for you. I hope that wasn't too tangential, but it just goes to show that, as is the case with a lot of foods and supplements on the market, there's a lot more than meets the eye, and things come in a whole myriad of forms, as you can see with vitamin D. So it's important to consider this when you're spending your money and your time on these things. Okay, so some other benefits. Well, just to recap, we've covered vitamin D is an integral part of immune function. Regulates calcium and phosphate levels in the blood, so it's crucial for maintaining bone health. We've established it's an excellent anti-inflammatory for heart health, joint health, and provides protection against osteoporosis. So, what else? Well, the update on vitamin D by Adams and Hewison, as released in February this year, points out that, well, I'll summarize. Low vitamin D levels are associated with obesity, and It suggests also that the decreased concentrations might be due to the increased volume of distribution and preferential retention of vitamin D in fat. This results in secondary hyperparathyroidism and the stimulation of renal 1-alpha hydroxylase in an attempt to compensate for the reduction of the biologically active vitamin D concentrations. So, I mean, basically what this means, vitamin D is retained in body fat preferentially. If the levels of vitamin D in the body become too low, the body will replace it. And this results in a nasty hormonal cycle, leads to increasing body fat levels. In other words, vitamin D is very important for reducing body fat. It can be a very, very good weight loss tool. Now, Cannell and colleagues have suggested that vitamin D deficiency is a major risk factor for influenza. Vitamin D is actually shown to be effective in reducing flu incidence. Now, there are obviously, there's loads of factors in play with this sort of thing, but flu season does typically coincide with the times of year where vitamin D concentrations, from sunlight, are lowest. Now, another thing, the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition published a study in March this year, wherein children taking 1,200 IU, that's international units, 1,200 international units of vitamin D3 supplements per day through the winter, they were shown to be 42% less likely to get infected with the seasonal flu than those that were given the placebo. So that's great. And another thing is this also ties in with mental and cognitive function, things like SAD, seasonal affective disorder, Alzheimer's, and also schizophrenia. No solid relationship has been demonstrated yet, but this is quite interesting stuff. It can be very wide-reaching.